Once upon a time, and once the Prophet ﷺ had technically stopped a woman from going by the graveyard. And a lot of scholars today use that hadith to forbid women from going to the cemetery. But that was a special occasion. So that's the whole question. I know I may get a lot of questions from that after. Because that woman was unnecessarily ranting and screaming and shouting and weeping and getting beyond the norm. You see what I'm saying? She was going beyond the norm of Iman. And because of her emotion and being over emotional, he had stopped her. And the people took it as a message to stop women from going to the cemetery. But that's not the law in Islam, all right? Don't just cut piece of this statement that I have said women should not go to the cemetery. Later on, the Prophet ﷺ reiterated and enforced that man and woman should go to the graveyard. So you hear the point I'm saying? Because if women are not allowed to go to the cemetery, and women are not allowed to go to the graveyard, the first step in the journey after death, they may not have that understanding. And they may not see the reality of what a graveyard looks like. They may not recollect the realistic aspect of a person living in $1 million home with all the luxuries and lives in a neighborhood with only the millionaires, but got to go in a little piece of hole, a small little hole in a little piece of land, and have the poorest person be your neighbor. Allahu Akbar. Interesting, huh? Because, you know, women are the one who love all this house and property and jewelry and all this fancy show. So the Prophet ﷺ wanted the woman to, no. Don't think it's all about this. Just go right here in this world by the cemetery and the graveyard and see what a lonely place that is. And see how the rich and the big and the powerful who live in mansions are now in a little hole, in a little spot, and cannot choose their neighbors, and may have the poorest people next to them. A little reality check. So there are the little thick issues about women going into the cemetery together with men at the time of a burial. Well, that's where the question marks are. That basically is not recommended by the fuqaha and the ulama. When all the men go and you're about to put somebody, because of the same fact that a woman may get very emotional. Don't put my husband there, don't put my child inside there, and she may scream and shout and she may jump in the hole. So to create all this all this abnormal sort of things, it's a prevention at that time. But it's not forbidden for women to go, because the first stop in the journey after death is the grave, so they could realize where I am living now and where I am heading to. See, death is an important thing.